Everybody, everybody is Anthony Brogdon, your main man. Oh, I'm coming at you again on Strong Inspirations, where I don't play with you as a result of the people who come on the show. We are over 3 years and growing, over 500 guests and growing, and you're going to like this guy. Man, this guy, he's a cool cat. He's a musician, and he got that musician kind of persona about him. When he was at the function that, hey, and I was the speaker, everybody. This is down here in Macon, Georgia, at the Tubman Museum. Let me sidebar. The Tubman is very nice facility, a beautiful building. It's the beacon of Macon, in the heart of this, the arts community and all that other stuff. And this gentleman, along with other people, were there. And he was sitting there kind of coolly, and he had a cool walk and all that other stuff. And so we got to talking because he approached me and he bought a book, everybody. He approached me and we got to talking and he told me what he does. I'm not going to tell you right now. I was like, yo, please come on, Strong Inspirations. And here we are. Ooh, I'm so excited. So hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. It's free. Don't ask no information. It just let me know you like me. Hit the like button on this video. You're going to love it. Hit the notifications bell for when the video comes up. You get a ding, shock, smoke signal. Your lights flicker. Your hands get sweaty. Something to let you know there is new content that you need to watch. Move the cursor as you see fit, everybody. Those are you in those classrooms. Let these kids see this stuff, right? This good Black history. I like this show here. And then tell somebody about us. Please don't keep it to yourself. Let it flow. Let this thing resonate around the world. Because I have had people around the world. Like, did you see the one with the guy out of South Africa? He said they consider him colored because he's a lighter complected dude. But he grew up in apartheid. Still had to fight some of that injustice on his own front. Watch that video. How about the one I did with the guy out of Scotland who found out his great-great-grandfather was the largest enslaver in Barbados. Watch that video. Did you see the one I did with the lady out of Canada, St. Catherine, Canada, who said that her grandfather was great-great-grandfather, was Harriet Tubman's minister when Harriet got to St. Catherine? Or did you see the one I did also in Canada with the lady who founded Blackhistorymonth in Canada? Founded it in regards to she helped make the legislation happen for that country. Watch that. So it's just a few of the many videos on the show. Everybody, if you may, as you've been watching me know, I'm a filmmaker, and this is a documentary I've done titled Business in the Black, The Rise of Black Business in America. It is streaming on Amazon. To work along with that same topic, I wrote this book, America's #1 Black business history book called Black Business Book, over 200 facts and no commentary. I let the facts stand on its own merit. That's why I got so many of them in there, and it's easy to read. The book is also available on Amazon. I have a children's book. I don't have any copies right here with me because I sold them all. So I got more coming in from the printer. It's titled They Did It. It's 30 rich Black people who lived in the 1800s, the name, the year they were born, and what they did. No mention of slavery for those of you in them kind of states that don't want that to be told. Get you a copy of that book. A couple more things. Got a 2025 calendar titled Do Your Best, Be Your Best. Quotes by famous Black people. And another one titled They Did It. 12 rich Black people who lived in the 1800s. All this and where I speak at around the country, my engagements are on the website businessintheblack.net. So check it out. And if you need a speaker, just send me a message. I want to come and blow your mind. You and all of them that's sitting in the room. I want to blow your mind with some of what I call good Black history. Now, you hear me use this term a lot. It's called strong. Strong Inspiration. Strong Productions is my company. Strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to the strong soul brother that's on the channel today. Come on, introduce yourself. Let's get it on. Thank you for being here.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What do I do now? I need to be sitting on a block of ice because this man has chilled me down to zero.
See, I
My
told you
name
he
is,
cool.
my name is Newton Collier. I'm from Macon, Georgia. And I'm proud to say I'm going on 80 years old, y'all. And guess
Uh,
what? I've
that's
been there, done that, and still trying to do some more.
there you go.
And what we're going to
Okay,
talk about today is going to
let,
make you glow.
yeah, there you go. I told you he's smooth. So this is what we're gonna do, if you don't mind. I want to talk about you personally just for a second. Were you born in Macon?
I was born in Macon, Georgia, in the area called Tyndall Field, or Tyndall Heights. It would be equal to the Brewster Apartments up there where you are.
Okay, and and,
Projects.
and so that's where a lot of black people lived in that area.
I think I had 1,000 kids to play with. Yes.
Was it what if I gotta ask this? Was it violent? Was it hard growing up there?
It
Well,
was
so
rough.
much of what we hear about the projects.
It was rough, but it wasn't rough at the same time because we had these guys that were Montford Marines that were actually were the police of the neighborhood. And they controlled things. They kept the big kids from beating the little kids and the little kids from being in trouble.
Did well where was it located? Was it like downtown and that kind of thing?
We're about a quarter of a mile south of downtown.
Okay.
Yes, it was across the tracks.
Where
And it
where
was
where, where did the white people live? What was their neighborhood called?
mostly was segregated black people in Tyndall Field. I would say it might have been maybe a quarter of a mile in diameter.
Yeah.
But Tyndall Heights was only 16 acres within that particular uh, Tyndall Field area. And it was near Mercer University, which was a segregated all white school. So that was like boundaries. It was like boundaries on one side, and it was more of a stretch, like a long row.
Yeah.
And on the other side was Tailpath Street. And from Tailpath Street over to Liberty Street was mostly the white people lived on that side. So it was like just a little village, more like a village.
Oh, okay. Growing up like in a southern town like that, and I know you're not that old. Well, you said your age. Was there a yes sir, yes ma'am to white people? Did you kind of fear white people growing up like that?
There was a fear, but I was taught not to fear. Those Montford Marines had taught us survival. So we knew when to say things and when not to say things. But most of all, it was more of a religious type thing. You respect and get respect. If you see people, you're walking down the street, you don't know them, you the first to say, "Hey, how you doing?" That throws them to a new level. They, you spoke to them nice, so they
Yeah.
won't come off really bad.
What's really bad? I mean, in that town, what? Yeah, what does that mean? Were you like, okay, how about this one? Were you ever called a nigger?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. See, you try and approach them before they get a chance to say anything. And then if they gonna say anything, that it's an instant thought sometimes in that mind, wait a minute, might be the wrong one. He's not the one. So you avoid all of that. And another one, like if you're in the bank or something like that, and someone stepped in front of you, you said, okay, thank you, like that. You give them something to think about without
So you
pushing
encountered
away.
instances where white people could be just disrespectful like that.
Right. They could do that. It was like that many days.
Did you see black only, white only signs?
All the time. In fact, there's still a color sign on the train station down here for remembrance in the history. When we catch the train, it was always go to the back. If we went to the restaurant, it was either go through the back door or go through the side door, back in the alley, some kind of way out the back door. Never go through the front.
And you just knew that was the sign of the time. So you know, did you ever
Right.
try to buck that? Did people try to buck that theory?
There were times there were a few guys that did bucket. We did bucket a couple of times, and well, little skirmishes break out, but that soon squashed, and we went back to normal. But after the civil rights, when I graduated from high school, civil rights was really big. That's 63. The boycotts had started going into downtown, but the boycotts of downtown didn't happen until the 70s because Macon was late. Things were sort of smooth. They smoothed out. You have a couple of scrimmages between teenagers. So some of those teenagers, believe it or not, today are some of my friends. We laugh about what happened.
When you talk about some of the teenagers, you talking about the white people.
Right, some of the white people. Some of them today are some of my friends, and we speak to each other. It's a whole different thing now. So we actually said to a couple guys, hey, man, that was cool. He said, yeah, man, we were fools. We didn't know no better. So everything sort of mellowed out that way. But at the same time, when we were young, their parents probably told them things, and our parents told us things. And those Marines and those guys that we lived around until night said, well, don't take that crap. You do this, you do that to a certain degree. And then if you get a chance to get away, you make a clean getaway. We use the alleys of the city. We would hit the alleys, and none of those guys, no white guys, going to come down the alley because they didn't know what was going on there. So you run out in the alley on the other side, you had them then because you could regroup on the other side. It's most likely you run into the black neighborhood right quick.
Okay,
That type of stuff was
this is a
going
long
on.
time ago. I'm gonna ask you: did you ever throw a rock at one? A white guy? Did you ever? Did you?
I have to throw my hand up and say yes. I have done some throwing rocks, and I've done my share.
Did you do it because they had done something to you? You said, "Well, this is my chance because I just hate them." Did
No, it was in my situation. It was more or less they were coming after us, and we had to do something quick. So that's what we did. We fought back with rocks and things like that, sticks, anything we get our hands on.
and
So
then, but then at the same token, you went to school with them, or you didn't. It was all segregated.
I didn't go to school with them. Schools were not broken into until 65 or 66. That's when I remember schools being integrated in Macon. It was rough, but it wasn't as rough as they thought it was going to be.
Let me ask you this: did you ever think white people were better than black people?
No, we all were made of one God, made from one God. Adam and Eve, two people. They broke it down through the time. We all have one heart, one liver, one brain, I
Yeah,
think,
that's true. That's true.
two ears,
Yeah,
mouth, and so forth.
right, right.
In the
Did, did,
middle
did
in the middle of our skins is the reason we are. It's all sort of like who's born on the equator and who's not born on the equator.
yeah, I can
The
dig that.
melanation of the nation.
Where is the enslavement in your family? Do you know that like further south, or is it in the Macon area, or what?
The enslavement in my family is actually in the South, in the Savannah area. And I come from a Gullah Geechee style family. My people came from down the Savannah area, the Tybee Islands, and all that kind of stuff. And they were enslaved over there. Coming into Macon, my people came from Savannah, by way of the Tybee Islands, into Macon as indentured servants and laborers. And I'm a product of the Tybee people coming that direction. That was my great grandmother.
Was Macon the big city at the time, or was it more of a rural town compared to
It was
Savannah?
Macon was the big city. It was in the middle of the state. Still is in the middle of the state in the big
Sure.
city to a certain extent. It's about number 4 in the largest population. But a lot of traffic came from Savannah, heading north, because you had to go through Savannah in order to get to, go through Macon in order to get to Atlanta. You had to go through Macon to get to Columbus or any other parts. So
Oh,
we're not on the coast. We're inland, 200 miles inland. and 400 miles above sea level going
Yeah.
to Savannah.
Yeah. What's it? What did your father do and grandfather do? How did they, what was the jobs for black men at the time in of their era?
Okay, my daddy worked in the he worked in a hotel for a minute, but then also I found out I wasn't raised with him. He left when I was about 10. But later I found out he had a lot to do with the Seminole Indians that were down in Florida. There's somebody that was in his family that was down there, and he would help them out with a lot of the trade and stuff they did. And also, he was also a trumpet player. I'm finding that out. He was a musician, but I didn't know that when I became a musician, anything like that. But he worked in the music industry. He was like an A&R man with me now. You go set up a lot of stuff with a lot of the bands before they get there and collect the money, that type guy.
Okay. What about your mom? What her
My,
family?
okay, my mother's from Macon, Georgia, and she was a school teacher. When I was born, she met my dad because she was going to Fort Valley State, and my dad was living in Fort Valley, so they met. She dropped out of school and had me, and went back and got her degree, and she taught school for years. And
Yeah.
along with my aunt was a school teacher, and my grandmother, my grandmother's the one that came up through the Gullah Geechee system. Her people are from down in the Savannah area on that side of the family. On my daddy's side, um, my grandmother was from Montezuma, Georgia. I don't know too much about what was going on down there.
I, I'm a Northern City guy. Yeah, I was born and raised in
Right.
Detroit. So how about this one? Are you a country boy, or Macon makes you a little
Uh,
bit different than a country boy, but just a small town?
well, I would say I'm half country because during the summers when I was small, I would go down to either my grandmother's house, which was country, or I would go down to grandmother's house on my mother's side, which was Sparta, Georgia. That's real country. But you had to slaughter the hogs, go get the cows that just walked away. You got to go out there and find them. Go with Uncle John down the other side because you got to fix the fence because that's where the cow got away from. And bring the slop out in the morning. I thought vacation, but it was more like slave labor. They carried the wood back to the house, went out to the meat house, helped my uncle, my great uncle, carved down half of the meat. Now that's another story. Me seeing being a city boy, I thought they go into a smokehouse. Here's a cow upside down, draining blood. I'm 9 years old. Yes, I did run. They trained me quick. This is how you got the meat in the store. So it went to my mind, okay, this is early packing. So I learned to pack salt, pick peaches, plums, all the vegetables. I learned how to go down the row and make the water go from one row to the next, like making a dike and cutting off the water and let the water run down so you save water while you're doing that, all that kind of stuff. It's just basic country living. I came back to Macon. I'm living on in the project, basically everything indoor plumbing, which is nothing heard of out there. You take the roll of toilet paper with you when you go out to the outhouse in the country. But just a lot of transitions I went through, and I learned a whole lot living both directions like that as a young kid.
I understand. Did did, do you wish your family would have moved to the big city? Were you envious of the big city, maybe even just Atlanta or coming up north? Did you know
Uh,
of that type transition?
okay, that's interesting. No, I didn't. I don't recall being envious. I knew my uncle had moved to Detroit. I had another cousin that lived somewhere in Pennsylvania, but going to see him was no big deal. I never went up there. So at that time, I was too young to even think about what was going on. I was just worried about what was going on in my next door neighbor and down the street more than anything.
Yeah. Um. So, uh, but in a small town like Macon, and I'm gonna say a small town, do everybody know pretty much everybody?
it gets to be that way. Yes, yes. If you are on one side of town, you knew everybody on that side, and sometimes you knew other people on the other side of town. Macon is divided. Macon is divided by a river, east side and west side. But everybody goes downtown, so downtown was the melting pot for everything. So everybody basically knew everybody over a period of time.
Did Macon have the racial strife like other southern towns where the sheriff was known to be racist and he was messing with people? Did they have
Yes,
that kind of thing?
we had that going on. Yes, we did. We had that going on in the 60s and the 70s. It was prominent because that was the era I could remember.
Yeah.
The 60s and 70s.
Did
That,
did did, what did you have? You went to all black high school.
right.
Y'all had a prom.
I didn't have no problem with all black high school. High school. I didn't have any problem. My problems came when integration came
I
in.
said a prom,
Oh
PROM,
yes, yes,
prom.
yes, yes. Prom. We did have a
Yeah,
prom. Yes.
yeah. Uh, uh, and so, what did you decide to do for once you graduated from high school? What was your what did anybody tell you could go to college? Did in high school? Did anybody say you could be
Yes.
somebody?
Yes. That was pushed. That was pushed from way back. Oh, and I was in the ninth and 10th grade. College was on my mind. It's what I was going to study was the problem. By the time I got to the 11th grade, I was a musician, full time almost. Well, I made money doing it. I guess that's full time. And so I was 11th and 12th grade actually playing music. And so I wanted to go to college. I wanted to go to Morris Brown. I'm AME. So I was able to get into Morris Brown, which is a NME school. And I stayed there. But in the meantime, I was also a musician. So after about a year of schooling, I got the opportunity to making more money. Somebody told me you'll make more money playing your horn than you will with the degree. So I sort of weighed that out and I thought about it. I said, maybe so. And then I thought about, wait a minute, I'm getting ready to see the world. I'm not gonna be able to see the world if I'm working a 9 to 5 job. I'm only gonna see what's around me. I want to see more of what the world. I'm more of a worldly person. So I took the route as a musician and I dropped out of school and started playing music full time.
How did you start playing music? Did you take lessons?
Yes, I stood. If I was okay, got to go way back when I was about 9, 8, 9 years old. I was actually studying music 9, 8, 9, 10 years old from a lady named Miss Gladys Williams, who was a female band director that lived in Tyndall Field. She was a friend of my mother's, maybe a cousin too, because that last name was Williams. They both came from Sparta, Georgia, so we still working on that. But she took a liking to me, and her house was part of the Green Book. Any given Saturday, you go by our house, you might see Ethel Waters, Pearl Bailey, Sam Davis Jr. Her son was named Earl Jackson. He played in Porgy and Bess, the Russian touring company in 1954, 55. That he met Sam Davis Jr. And I walked in one time and saw um, Ethel Waters standing up and looking out the door. And then I recognized who it was. And then another time, it'd be Pearl Bailey and Sammy Davis Jr. I saw Cal Calloway had been there, but he went over to another lady's house. And she told me that he had left. And in her house were pictures around the wall, like you have behind your wall, of all these people. Hello, Gladys. Thank you, Gladys, for the night over. See you later. We're going to such and such. Wish you could go with me. And they'll write their names down. I wish I had taken some of the pictures off the wall now. But she had it like that. And
Yeah,
she graduated from university. And some of her writing and manuscripts are still in the library up there. And she went to school on a scholarship from somebody they don't even know who it is today. It was an anonymous scholarship. And she had polio. She walked with a limp. But when she played music, you never knew anything was wrong with her. She could play classical right now. And the next song would be a blues. And then the next song would be another classical. Then she'll play Stardust, or maybe Moon River to the Boogie Woogie. I mean, her show, depending on where she went, she lined her show up according to who hired her. If it was a gospel show, she played all gospel. If it was like to a society, high society, like she liked to play all these rich high society gigs, she'll play all this sophisticated music. Then on Saturdays, she started something on Sundays. It was on Sundays called the Teenage Party, which was in a little place out in the Bellevue section, which was a bucket of blood in reality. They had a pot-belly stove in the middle of the place to keep the heat. There were holes in the floor. You could see right straight through. That's what I mean by bucket of blood. If you dropped the coal on the floor, the place would have burnt down. That eventually would happen. But one bathroom, unisex, she always pushed the piano up by the bathroom because she said, anybody come by, I got to go. Y'all just take over or something like that. Yeah, she had something to say about that bathroom all the time. And she would look at you and she would say, your time to solo, that's me. I'm a little kid, so I walk over and play. Da, 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 da. Get up, get up, get up. That would be my solo. It would be that quick. And that's how we got trained by Miss Gladys. She would take us out. And we would hear all these nice musicians that she had. And she would start pairing us off with these guys. And they would be out like Lewis Hamlin, Jesse Hancock. Some of them went on to be big famous musicians in their own rights. And she always tell us, if you don't know what they're gonna do, just remember, you're only about a half a note away from the right note. Try it again and play a note one time above or below that. You'll be in key. I'll find you. And she did. You can play.
What instrument did you play?
At that time, I'm starting to play trumpet. I was playing piano also. But I learned my trumpet from Lewis Hamlin and Sammy Coleman when I was 10 years old. I started playing trumpet. And Mr. Robert Scott, the band director, who was in one of Miss Gladys' bands, all these people I'm talking about played in Miss Gladys Williams' orchestra. Mr. Robert Scott, who was the band director at Blackhistory High School, had classes at the Booker T. Washington Center. And he was teaching, he was the band director, but what he did was he didn't have any kids ready to play in the 9th, 10th. He had to teach kids from the beginning in the 9th grade music. So he started a feeder school system. And that was at the Booker T. Washington Center. And I was in the feeder school. And by the time I got to high school, I was ready to join the band. That's not on a big label.
Let me ask you this. Were you the kind of kid that took your horn with you everywhere you went? And everybody saw there go Newton with the horn, and then you'd be out on the corner practicing and stuff like that. You know, kind of something I might see in the movies.
So who told you I was walking up and down the street playing horn? Yes, I was that guy. There are people that say there are people that know me today, and if you meet them, they'll say, "Well, you know, Newton used to walk up and down. Oh my God, he wish you put that horn down. He just nobody with him. He got his own parade going. I did that. That was
so you really took a liking to it. It became something that you just loved to play.
Yeah, I gave up my my boys on the playground, as to say, to play that horn. I did, and I went around. Now I would go downtown, and I would go wherever these Air Force musicians that played trumpet, wherever they played, you'd find me sitting there trying to see what else they did.
So you got real good at it.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Did your parents discourage? Did your mom or something discourage you from playing it? Just get a regular job, or it was too late?
I think it was both. At first, she wanted me to stay on piano, but after a while, her and Miss Gladys, I think Miss Gladys got tired of me asking me, "How can I make this music sound like a trumpet?" She just got tired of me asking her that, so I got full-time trumpet. And from that point on, my mother was with it all the time. She in fact bought my first horn And I really appreciate that. And I paid her back dearly. And I had encouragement all through the neighborhood. My grandmother could play piano, and my aunt could play piano, and my mother could play piano. And sometimes I would have music. I'd be practicing the music. My mother would come in there and sit down on the piano and play it. She said, "Let us play it together." Okay.
Because when you practice the horn, that's noisy. People had to get used to hearing that noise too, right?
Well, you're right. They got used to it. And there was a lady across the street from me. She had a son, and her son plays trumpet. So she had, before she passed, she used to tell me, "You know why my son played trumpet?" I said, "Why?" She said, "Honey, we could hear you in the kitchen across the street." I said, "Well, that's good." And she was pregnant. I
Did
played
you
that
want
time.
fame?
Huh?
Did you ever want to be famous for doing this?
After I saw what was happening, I did. I was raised around Otis Redding and Johnny Jenkins and some more musicians that were good. And they had something called the Battle of the Bands back in that time in the 50s at Sawyer's Lake. So I got a chance. I'm a little kid. So I get a chance to tag along with Otis Redding because Otis' parents knew my parents, so I could tag along. You know, little kid, I tag along. I would go for. And after I see Sammy Coleman and all these guys that can play in the Air Force Band, I want to do that. And that's what it is. And I would bug them to teach me how to do that. So a lot of my playing, a lot of my initial playing was imitation playing. Then I learned to read the music for real. Then after I figured out what I was doing, that's
So
why I learned it backwards.
what? Tell us about your career in music. What? Yeah, what was it?
Oh, it was wonderful. I left Macon right after high school and went to Augusta, Georgia, and started playing with a band called Leroy Lord and the Swinging Dukes. And Leroy Lord and the Swinging Dukes was a 9-piece band. I made 10. And Macon, I was playing with maybe 5 or 6 pieces. So now I'm beginning to hear what I thought I wanted to hear was a big band sound. I could hear the horns on each side of me, and then I could hear what I was playing. Because playing the piano, I learned to play chords. And sometimes when I'm playing by myself, I would hear the other sound, but it wasn't there. Because I wouldn't have other horn player. But now I'm not playing. So one night, I never forget, the guy said, "Okay, been here a couple of weeks. Oh, Maceo coming back." I said, "Who?" They said, "Maceo." Okay, that was a guy in the Army at this time in Augusta. He was at Fort Gordon. He was a lieutenant in the Army band. His name was Maceo Parker. He was the band director. This is way before James Brown.
Yeah, I was gonna. I knew Maceo from the James Brown there. Go ahead.
Right. Now his brother Melvin was playing drums. I didn't have the connection. I'm too young to have to think like that. I didn't have the connection. So he came back. And so we went from playing a little small like cocktail thing into a James Brown show immediately as he hit the stage. He had never been to Macon. He knew of James. He had idolized James Brown. And after he got through playing that first set, I said, I called someone, I think I told him something like, "I just saw James Brown as a saxophone player, and you wouldn't believe what I saw." This guy had James Brown down to a T. All the turns, the hollering, everything. But he played saxophone instead of singing. How would I know he was going to be Maceo that was at the band after he got done? That's exactly where he went. And that's one of the things I always noticed. Maceo never lost his ability to replace James Brown on stage if he really needed to, because of the way he did it.
Hmm. So you played in the band. Did you ever record yourself any of your original music?
No, my recording days were early in Macon. I worked at a place called Macon Recording Studio, which was owned by King Record Company. This is in the early 60s, 61, 62, and 63. I was in high school. Mr. Scott took a bunch of kids, and he would have us to learn to play with the professional guys, which was the Air Force guys. Before we played in these nightclubs, we would go down to Macon Recording Studio, and Bobby Smith, that was on Mulberry Street, with Bobby Smith, and they would record songs. Now, when they record, they would get one of us, one or two of us, to be in the horn section. And we'll get our training there. That's how you learn to hear and play with other musicians that are really on another total different level. So the Air Force guys, whoo, it's just like what you think it is now, a military band.
Yeah.
They can play. And here we are stumbling over notes. But what I liked about them, they gave us the easy part of the songs. And one guy told me one time, he said, when you're recording, if you feel like you're getting ready to screw up, do not play that note, play the next note. Just skip that note. So that note can be covered up in the mix. I said, oh, okay. He said, do not concentrate. He said, do not try and repeat yourself if you make a mistake. Just keep going.
What's the highlight of your career? Did you ever perform in front of like in the biggest not artist, but the biggest audience that you performed in front of and that kind of thing?
One of my highlights, okay, I went to England a couple of times, but the highlight was going to Japan and working on Operation Entertainment during the Vietnam era. We were stationed at Tachikawa Air Base with Sam and Dave, and we had an all-star lineup, and we entertained the troops, just like you see the Bob Hope show.
Right.
It was the same type thing. We just used other artists. Bob Hope used his set. Sam and Dave had a set. We worked with Lola Bolano, Raquel Welch, Frank Sinatra Jr., Nancy Sinatra. Whoever come on board, we'll have them. We did that for about a year or so. That was the highlight, being in Japan.
I always wondered if the guy in the band is playing the instruments, and then you got the guy up front who's the singer, who's getting all the acclaim. Do you ever get jealous of him and want to go upstage him or something? You know what I'm saying? And say, I want everybody to know who I am too.
Well, if you ain't seen the Sam and Dave band, you will understand the Sam and Dave got to be the minor act. We were a dance band. And if Sam and Dave got too wild, from one side of the stage to the next side, we could tone them down. Because they would depend on the band for a lot of the theatrics and everything. We danced all night long. We were not a sit-down band. We danced, twirled the horns, and it was like looking at a clown show in reality.
Okay. Do the guys in the band, that's just between me and you, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Do the guys in the band get the girls like the lead singer do?
I take the fifth on that. Some of the guys are married.
Yeah.
That's not gonna go too well.
Yeah, I got you. Did you ever face when you performed? Did you ever have to go through the back door to perform?
That's the interesting thing. Leaving the South, yes, I did in the South, but after we left the South, that was all over. When we hit England, we thought we was in heaven. We went through the front door. We went by limousines, which was furnished to us by the Beatles. We met Eric Clapton and all these different English stars. And I'm looking at them. I said, here we are in England. No back door. They said, you said, it's time to go down to the restaurant. You went to the restaurant, and all these white people in the restaurant, they coming over talking to you. So it's a culture shock instantly. And you're saying, I've fallen into heaven or something like that. I mean, I realized that I'm a human being treated normal. Then come back to America, come back down south. Oh, Lord, here we go. Turn the clock back.
I got you. How about this one? Has anybody ever cheated you out of your money? you know, where you were performing and didn't pay you and ran out the back door? Did you ever have that?
That did happen one time, once or twice, but they were caught and they paid dearly. I remember, okay, we had some guys that made sure that didn't happen. One time we were playing out in Texas, and we got word that the promoter liked to keep a lot of money in his pocket. So we had a guy, especially for that, on the bus. You didn't see him with the band. He was like a dead man. He just watched the booking agents or whoever was gonna pay us off. So when the guy left, some of the guys gonna say something. So you hit the guy leaving, because he can see watching the band and see if he see anything. He's always our protector. And so we hit him. So he saw the guy go out. And so the guy came back in that time, but he saw what car he went to. So he came back in, sat on the bar, and threw his thumb up like that to all of us. So everybody, we kept going 7 days, see a performance. So he said, things are all right, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna be a good night tonight now. So we performed, and so all of a sudden, we got ready to get paid off that night. I think the manager went in there and he said, man, you know, we didn't do too good. Man, I said, look, the house was packed. We know we did good. But I gotta go to the bank and everything. He said, we're going to the bank. And he said, hurry back. So the man went out, got ready to go to the car. He tried to crank the car up, I guess. He came back, hey man, my car won't start. So our dead man walked up to us and said, you might need this ignition coil.
Right.
And we got paid that night.
Yeah, okay. It's like in the movie The Ray Charles. At the end of the show, you get they give you cash. I'm sure, right? They
Yes.
no check. Yeah.
Yes. Don't be bringing me no check. I can't do nothing with a check but shine my shoes with it. That's all I can do with it.
Right. Yeah, I want cash.
We on the road, we moving. Everything we do is on a cash basis.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Did what kind of music was it that y'all was it jazz, bebop? What kind of music did you normally play?
We did something called rock and roll. And we did mostly soul with Sam and Dave. We did rhythm and blues, basically. And then there were a couple of jazz songs that we did put in there. If we knew that there was a jazz radio station in the city, we'll knock off a couple of jazz tunes in our band performance. And if we knew that the certain song was not the song that we did, but by somebody else, we'll cook up an arrangement real quick, a number one song on the radio today, and blah, 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 blah. So we'll play that song that night. So that make them feel like we know what they're doing and we know what they're doing. And then we'll come on with our show, and then we'll incorporate something like that to the show. So we have to be so fast on your feet sometimes.
Is this what where you performed? Is this what they call a Chitlin Circuit?
That's it. It was the Chitlin Circuit, right? We did the Chitlin Circuit.
And what does that mean?
The Chitlin Circuit lasted from 1914 up until about 66. It was a string of nightclubs that were basically rundown clubs. It was set up to give performers equal opportunity to make some money. And mostly little black juke joints strung up mostly in the South. Also, the top of the Chitlin Circuit, just for the information, it's called the Apollo. Once you make the Apollo, you're at the top of the Chitlin Circuit. Now, you can go out and make some real money. But the Chitlin Circuit was based out of the South. It was like the different little nightclubs, the theaters, the movie halls, all that kind of stuff. And what you do, if you play the circuit tonight, I'm here tonight, and I'm off tomorrow night, you can call that city, because another night we're going to another city further out. Call that city and get someone there. Oh, you at that theater. Okay, you got to go to the next theater. We go to the city, pull the bus up in front of the black barbershop, give out tickets to all the women going to get their hair done because the women gonna bring the men. Give them all one ticket. Now the man got to get a ticket. That's his problem. That usually works. Or you show up and walk the streets and promote the show like that.
Did you what was the club in Macon that everybody came to? The black
Adams,
people.
okay, it been Adams Lounge and Club 15. Those were the two prominent clubs. And also there was a club called the Club Manhattan, which is in Grace, which is a little further out.
Did you ever play in Detroit?
Yes. Yes, I did. I played the 20 Grand and I played Phelps Lounge.
Yeah, I know both of those. Did you ever try to get with Motown?
Well, no, I never did. Although Barry Gordon is from the South, I never tried to get with Motown because I was contracted to Stax, which wouldn't have been no problem, I don't think. But during that time I was coming through there, Motown wasn't on my register, mind-wise. It was more trying to project myself with the Stax label.
And they were based out of where?
Detroit. Stax is out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes, yeah, right.
Right, that's Southern Soul, Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, as we almost come to a close, what music were you raised on? Were you raised, yeah?
Between Count Basie, from Joe Williams, to listening to early R&B. I'm talking about rhythm on one side of the record and blues on the other side. That's how R&B got its name. Rhythm, rock on one side, rhythm on one side, and the blues on the other side. Then in about 1945, they said, what we gonna call this? Some smart man said, oh, what about rhythm and blues?
Yeah.
Play one side of the record, you turn it over, you get the blues. That's what I raised up on.
The guy who played the guitar and would bounce across the stage, what was his name? Not Chubby Check.
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry, yeah.
Right.
Did you ever meet him and people like that?
Yeah, I met them. Yes. Remember now, we stayed in the Chitlin Circuit. In the hotels we stayed in, everybody stayed in the same hotel, basically. So if you're going north to south, east to west, you only have one hotel in the city. If they stayed in the hotel, you're running across some kind of way.
And most all your travel was via bus, right? So it'd be like how many people in the bus, and you sleep at night, sleep during the day. What was that schedule like?
Well, you had a seat and you had a little bunk upstairs, not necessarily a bunk, but a little area, and you sleep on the bus. Most of the time you sleep on the bus unless we got to a place like a hotel, which sometimes that wouldn't last no more than a couple of hours. Take a shower, get a couple hours sleep. You got to get to the show because you got to get a sound check. And after the sound check, most likely you go and rest for an hour or so, and then it's showtime. So if you get there at 3 o'clock, check in, 5 o'clock, you up and running. You ready to go to the show. You only wait to the show.
In the high, and one more as we come to close. In the high part of your career, how much were you on the road?
Well, one year we did 375 days, feel like. We had no days off. Our days off would be a traveling day from one side of the country to the other. We really didn't stop, just nonstop. We did, one time we did 340, 50 shows in the calendar year.
Whoa, that's 2 shows a day in some instances.
Okay, 2 shows a day. That happened. What I remember mostly was in Boston to Montreal. We started at 3 o'clock in Boston, got through at 5 o'clock at Fenway. We caught the plane. We had a special plane. We caught the plane, and at 11 o'clock that night, we was in Montreal, cranking it up again.
They keep coming to me. If I may ask, and you see how you can answer, is being on the road a lonely life, though, in some respects?
Well, it's lonely. It's only lonely when you make it lonely. There's so much going on, you don't have time to be lonely. Remember, you got to take care of your own house. You got to have your clothes together. If you didn't eat, that's too bad. You eat after the show. If you leaving at 3 a.m. in the morning to the next show, how did you eat? That's because you hustle up somebody to get some food for you to bring to the show. You have to have your mind working all the time. There's always something going on.
So when did you retire from that lifestyle? Let's say.
Ooh, basically in '76 when I came off the road, I got shot in '76. So from '76 up until '83, I couldn't play a trumpet regular, so I had a special trumpet made, and I played it. And retire, you never retire. Well, I never retired. I just slowed down. Then after about '81 up until '87, and I left Boston, I was back into it again. I was back playing, doing nightclubs. And then I left Boston. I came to Macon, and I slowed down. I played about 2 or 3 years here on the straight level, and then I basically slowed down. I'm getting too old.
Yeah.
And
I
the
mean,
music changed.
here's another question for somebody like yourself. For you to make the pinnacle of the career, I take no liberties. This you would have had to do an original song and become the headliner for the most part.
Right. That didn't happen in my case because I'm always called a side man. I had a chance to record more than once, but I didn't want that. I enjoyed having someone else out front. I enjoyed the ability to arrange, compose, make sure the music is correct. A lot of people have the pain. A lot of people have the pain in a couple of more words too.
Yeah. So you didn't want the fame like that, though.
No. I want the fame I wanted was make sure you played that note correct and played the progression correct and the timing of everything is correct. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I'll call the clock for a minute.
Here's one more. Were you ever at a club and the club got robbed, or there was a fight in the club and the band had to run out, or any of those
Yes,
kind of things?
yes. I was at the shootout early in my life here in Macon when James Brown and Joe Tex got to fighting. 7 people got shot that night. I was in the band. Now,
Hold on, let me stop you. James Brown and Joe Tech were fighting each other.
right over a woman.
Okay.
That's when Joe Tex wrote that song. You can have I don't that song. That's what it's all about. What happened was it was a James Brown homecoming show. So Joe Tex was the co-star of the show. There had been some beef between them before, but this was took it over the hill. So Joe Tex came on first at the City Auditorium, and James always has this cape act. He come out with the cape and do please. So Joe Tex had a rat. It looked like some kind of something you found from the homeless shelter. It was all banged up, and he had all these different colors, strips of stuff. All in it looked like a homeless person's bed or something. It was all ragged, and it was ragged at the end. He drug it out. And he's doing please. So in the middle of the song, he falls on the floor and get wrapped up in, and he hollers, please get me out of here.
Okay.
From the sideline, James is not laughing at this at all. The audience is rolling. James saying, oh no. So the show is over with. Everybody goes out to Club 15. And I'm playing with the Pine Toppers out there. That's one of my early gigs. So Johnny Jenkins and the Pine Toppers on stage. And Otis Redding was one of the singers. That was one of Otis Redding's last song gigs with Johnny Jenkins. So all of a sudden, Joe Tex came in first in his entourage. Then James them came in a little bit later. And then all you heard, I don't recall too much of what's happening, but all I heard was pop. Then I saw Johnny jump off the stage, left the guitar on, and went, woo. I said, oh, Lord. and there was a piano on stage. So a couple of guys jumped behind the piano and pushed the piano toward the door. And then they found out, they can't go there because people running to the door. So the only other place to go was to the bathroom, which was back there where we were. I went in the bathroom. I went in the women's bathroom. That's the first time I ever said, yes, I did go to the ladies' bathroom.
Yes.
But I didn't care. I knew there was a window back there, and that's what I was going for, was that window. So we got named Walter Gaskin, who was a guitar player. He left his amplifier on. Somebody knocked it over. They went, boo! And then all this noise going on. So 7 people got shot that night. And so James Budd was the manager for James Brown. Nobody really got hit. No more than a nick here and a nick there with no big deal. He passed out $100 bills to everybody that got shot. It was sitting there hollering until the police won't come, and never mind. Just something that happened. Oh. But what I heard was the band that Joe Tech was in, the band was all in the club, and some of the guys were running behind the band. Joe Tech behind the bus driver. He was driving, and he was picking the guys up on the highway.
Okay.
It was like a comedy show. So we did get that. We did get out that bathroom. I got to think about it. They had they had iron bars. We couldn't get the bathroom window up. We couldn't get it. Oh well. We stayed in there until everything was cooled down, and I came back out. So survived that one.
You're proud of yourself from the humble beginnings. You took that horn to the highest level.
Right.
Made a good, decent career out of it. I mean, made some money and was able to provide.
Right.
Man, that's a beautiful thing.
Everybody,
this is strong inspiration. This is what I do. I tell you, I find the inside scoop. That's the inside scoop. And there are things that I didn't want to ask him. I want to ask him that I can't ask him, and I ain't going to ask him.
Call me on the phone and I'll tell you.
Yeah, because I know he knows the inside scoop of some of them stories, because he was sitting there watching it go down. But here we go. I gave you the best I could, given the circumstance and being respectful, so on and so forth. And so hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. Hit the like button on this one. There is no love button. Hit the notifications bell, and tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. I didn't do this, and I'm going to do it now. Is there a question that I have not asked you? Is there something that you wanted to say or tell us, anything that comes to mind?
I want to thank you so much for doing this. And I hope all these people in Detroit that are from Macon, Georgia, get a chance to hear this. And if they do, try to come back home sometime, say hello to the old city. And those down here from Detroit, go back up there and say hello to them. It'll work. Keep the music going.
There you go. Everybody, that's it. So to you, my brother, I say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. I want you to stay strong. Stay safe, stay on your grind. You're a good-looking 80. You're in good health. You're moving and grooving. I hope I'm that way at 80 years old. And I got to
keep living,
some years before they get to keep living. That's what I'm planning to do. And so thank you so very much for coming on Strong Inspirations. I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace out. Peace out.
Yeah.